Good morning and sliding in the afternoon. A lot of activity going on over here. So today it's all about Father's Day. We're going to devote the time today about Father's Day because there's no reason you cannot create a simple, stepped up card in time for Father's Day. So that's what we're focusing on today. So let's go down the hands and let's get started. Judy, Allan here, San Antonio, Texas, right? Oh yeah. So these are some examples I've already done, but we're going to do some other things as well and something similar, okay? Because this one here I did for retirement. It says good things come to those who wait and happy retirement, right? So we're going to take that same concept. We're using the Gone Fishing stamp set. And I'll show you all the things we're using. And I'm setting them aside right there. We're not doing that one just yet. So with this, we're going to do the same thing we just saw here, except we're just going to change the wording, okay? So this is a double stamp, and what I've done is I've gone, we slid into afternoon really quick like. So yes, if you're out there, please be sure to say hello. And I'm going to go ahead and let me stamp the words first, because it's easier, because this is going to take up space. So this allows me to judge where I'm going to sit there and place my bobber, right, for fishing, Gone Fishing. And then let me go ahead and stamp on the inside, Happy Father's Day. Okay, so you could just as easily put Happy Father's Day on the outside or the inside, just on however you want it, right? So I chose to do mine on the outside. And then I'm going to have to clean these because I've used these stamps more than once, and we're going to use different colors, right? So let's just get this clean now. I accidentally get gray into my other colors. Actually, it's Pebbled Path. So if you're wondering what that is, really actually the new color, Pebbled Path. So it's not really gray. I'm not sure what color, but that's the color I used, okay? So I'm going to set this aside. And the next thing that we're just going to do here is we're just going to stamp the bobbin. Called a bobbin. It might be called something else. But I've used this a lot, right? Whether fishing with worms, crickets. I've used this on a king pole as well as a regular fishing pole, right? It's whatever it takes to get the fish. You know what? Let me just go ahead and do this too at the same time. If I'm going to clean it, might as well get it all done at once, right? So I'm going to go ahead and just stamp it out because I'm just getting everything stamped out. All right, there. Now I feel better. So I still have enough room to sign my name. I could have just as easily done on this side, right? That might have been cute too. Or I can also sign on this side. So we have choices. It's all about choices, right? Okay, now I'm going to clean that and we'll get to the red. So this to do this here, you have to stamp twice. You're going to you have to, because that's how the design is. Unless you're just going to have to freehand color and get that extra little line there. So we're going to get the line by using this next stamp. And I'm doing red, right? Because I don't know about you. And next week I'm going to pull out my little fishing tackle box if I can readily find it. And you're just going to line it up. And I'm just going to try to line this up as best I can. It's got a little white space right there. And let's see here. Yeah, there we go. So I just lined it up. And I'm going to do the same thing. Now if it's too dark for you, you want a bit lighter, stamp off. And then we'll stamp again there. So it's a little bit lighter color. That's the color when I tapped it 3 times. This is when I stamped off and did it there. So all we have left to finish this card is to put some bling on here. And I chose, this is actually the 5 ink colors they have with the bling, and it just matches, right? So I could do it any way I wanted. And I love my 13-year-old teenagers, so if you hear them in the background, it's because they're not listening about the fact that we are live. So if you have teenagers, you know how that is, or kids. Let's see if I can get this off. I need to use the other one. Then you know what that's all about, right? Because this is an active household. No dull moments. I don't know about you, but we sort of got our summer planned. Things like going to swimming, Somebody got a haircut today. So it's a little bit of everything, right? It's just a lot of things happening in the summertime. And somebody's gonna go take care of that being quiet for me, so you guys won't have all kind of background noise. Okay, so there we go. So this one's done. Just very simple stamping in and out, and we added some bling. All right, so let me put this aside and we'll move on to the next one. All right, the next card is stepped up, right? So in this one, what we've done to step this one up, I'll put the bling out of the way, is this is something different. And I got this from one of my crafting team members. Looky here. So this is going to be our card base. Basically, I'll give Bridget the credit because Bridget does this all the time. She sits there and she just folds her cardstock in half, right, like we normally do to make our cards, but she embosses the whole thing in one sweep, right? So you're just feeding this through the embossing. This is actually the rope embossing. It's a 3D. I was looking to see if I had it with me. It's a 3D embossing folder. So that's all we did. It's just ran the whole thing so you can see the image. Now we are going to cover up the inside, but we're going to stamp it first, right? So let's go ahead and get the outside built, and then we'll go over to the inside. So on the outside here, I'm just taking some boho blue, and we're taking DSP, and we're going to assemble it. So we're not doing a whole lot here. So we did emboss, right? So we're stepping up with embossing, and we're stepping up the fact that we are putting some layers here. So we're just going to do some simple layering here. And then when we go to the last one, we'll actually do some fussy cutting. So you have options on some things to do fussy cutting or die cutting, depending what you got, right? So we'll talk a little bit about that when we get to the next one, we do the next one. So we had options. There's always options, right? Okay, so we're just going to put this down here. And we're going to stamp this Happy Father's Day. Put some bling on it. And then we'll be through. And I'm going to save stamping on the inside to the end for both cards. Alright, we're just going to line it up right here. And then we have this here. We're going to stamp this Happy Father's Day. And I actually brought some extra colors. So this one here, I was actually going to do in Mossy Meadow because it goes really good with what we're doing. So who do we got out there? Who do we have out there? Oh, hello, Linda. Thank you. You know, with Father's Day right around the corner, it's just like, let's get it done, right? So I'm just going to stamp Happy Father's Day. And this is Mossy Meadow. It looks very similar to the wheat paper. Let's get this shut. Now, so we're going to want to be able to stamp the insides right with that color, but I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to put Happy Father's Day here. We're just going to keep this one simple, right? But we are going to clean the stamps off because I have to keep on using. I'm going to keep on using Happy Father's Day. All right. So we're just going to put this up on dimensionals. Regular dimensionals. And then we're going to put bling, and this one's going to be done. Now, we could just as easily, see what you think, Linda, is we could add some thread. So I did bring some up here with me. Because another thing that I like to do from time to time is I like to just wrap the ends if I can. So yes, that was really a door being shut in the background. Okay, now that would match the ink, and I'm okay with that. And I'm just going to use a glue dot. So just adding some, this is actually, what are you considered? Let's see, this is considered twine. It's jute, well, it's jute trim. So it's thicker than twine. Sometimes the twine is thinner, so this is actually thicker than just regular twine. So I'm just going to take a glue dot here. And you can see if I got ink on my hands. That's okay. It's a good sign that we've been creating. And we're going to do that here. And I'm just taking this one right here because I think it's going to be easier to do. Loop it here and come around. And we're just going to do the same thing here. We're just going to anchor it down right there. And we're going to cut it. And then we're going to do the other side. Same thing, just gets a little extra, right? We haven't really done anything major. All we've done is just added some trim here. So, let me get that here. And we'll do that right here. And I'm just going to trim it off. Okay. And then I'm just going to add it on here. Then we can add bling. So we'll just put that aside. We'll put this on. And that just adds a little extra something without having to do major anything. And then we have, like I said, the bling here. So we have choices, right, of what color we want. I think I'm just going to go ahead and use the blue, because it's just going to match here. If we don't like that, we can always take it off, right? So I'm just going to put it here. And I'm going to go in here. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I use the picking tool. It is easier when I was creating on my own. But there we go. Alright, so all we did is we just added some of the jute right there. And then we emboss this to step this up. Okay, so let me set that aside and we'll get to the third one. So the third one we're going to actually fussy cut. And I changed up colors so you can see what it looks like in changed up colors, because they all pick up the color in here, right? So this is going to be on the inside just like the other ones. So I'm going to set that aside for the moment. And then we're just going to adhere this. So all we're doing now is we're just adding layers to step it up. And then we're going to do a little bit of fussy cutting. And then we're just going to add some jute, but we're just going to add a little bit differently. Okay, so we'll just get this on. Did I get that? Yeah, there we go. There we go. So, yep. But you can see we use the same rope, right? So you use the same rope. We just change the colors. So in the end, I'm going to show you how all the different colors look. And then we're going to put this on as well. So we're going to do Happy Father's Day again, but we're just going to change it up a little. But again, we've stepped it up, right? Because now we've incorporated 3 colors versus 2. This time too, we're going to, here's our tag to do Happy Father's Day. And I planned on doing this in the boho blue. Again, it's going to match the background there. And I'm just going to make sure I go a little bit to the right here, because I don't want my happy to be like cut off. Which I don't think it will be, but we'll see. If it messes, I can flip it over. There we go, right there on the edge. Yes. Okay, so we'll just clean that. So we're going to put that on with dimensionals. Now this one's going to be a little bit different, because the fact is, instead of wrapping the string around like I did a little moment ago, I'm going to go ahead and put this on dimensionals that are just buried. Okay. Let's see here. There we go. So we'll put this up on dimensionals. One of these days I'll show you what my background looks like when I get through tossing things aside. Alright, so I'm just going to sit here. I'm going to put it right here. I could higher or lower, right? I'm going to put a fish here. So this is how I did the one I showed you earlier. This one here, I can do the same thing. I'm going to put it just a bit lower, okay? But I still want to make room for the fish. Alright, and this is a large fish. So this fish, some of the fish have dies that you can cut them out of the paper. This one does not, so I'm going to have to fussy cut. Fussy cutting is just trimming around, right? We're just going to follow around the image. Until we get the fish cut out. Now, if I can, I should try to make it just a little wavy or rotate it so it's not like totally flat. But this is going to be on dimensional, so I don't think it's going to really be as noticeable, right? If you sit there and put it directly on the paper, you'd want to do something where it doesn't look so flat. So sometimes I just try to wiggle the paper or whatever, so it's just not a flat look to it. But everybody has a personal preference, right? So we all create differently, and it's okay. This might drive, I know some people don't like fussy cutting, all right? I don't mind fussy cutting at all. I enjoy fussy cutting. But some people don't, and that's fine too. Whatever floats your boat, right? It's all about creating, sharing, and giving. So if you don't not like it, don't want to do it, then you're not going to do it, right? But if you find it fun and do it your way, then that is what will get you to create. If not, also inspired by the person you're making it for, right? Okay, so I'm just going to put this one up on dimensionals too. Now, the one I did before, I let it cross over just a little bit. And we can do it on dimensionals just like we did. One thing you can do, if it's not as high as you want it, because I didn't use those smaller dimensionals, the mini dimensionals when I did the first one, if I want it higher than this, then I could double up on the dimensionals. You can actually double stack dimensionals and get an even higher look and still get it in the envelope, right? So that's the main thing. Can we get it in the envelope, or you can have to create an envelope? So let me toss this here. And the other thing I'm going to do is I put some Wink Stella, because I don't know what to shoot, but every time I've caught a fish, it always has got like a shimmer to it, whether it's from the water. I guess it's the water and the scales combined, right? So I'm just going to put this right here. It's just going to give a little bit of shimmer. This is just Wink Stella. We use it on flowers. We use it just about on everything, it seems like. We're just going to give that little shimmer, because right, catch that fish. It's definitely not going to jump on the boat in the boat for you on its own. So you can see it's just got a little bit of shimmer there. Now the other thing that's going to add is the ribbon. So it doesn't take much. I just need enough to be able to tie a knot, right? And in this particular case, we got the frayed look when I did this before, and the way we did that is we literally, if you see me before, I do this quite often, I'll unravel. So this actually has, when you go to unravel it, you'll get 3 pieces out of it. If I can get my 3 pieces. And out of it, 2 of them seem to not fray as much as the third one. And I'll show you how that is. See how this one is here? This is that's like the third one. See how it's frayed out compared to these 2 that stayed pretty much the same. So I'm going to use this one here, because this reminds me of, right? It reminds me of the stuff that's on the lures when you go fishing. And I know it's got a term more than just stuff, but hey, you know what? I'm not the serious fishing person. I do fish every great once in a while, especially grandkids. So, my main thing is I always make sure we can have our cork on there, and it's able to bob up and down. So I've pulled one of these through and not all of it through, okay? So I'm just going to fluff it up like that. And it just reminds me of some of the stuff you get on different ones. So just fray it on out, okay? That's all I did. I tied it through and just frayed it on out. Okay, and then we'll add some bling. In this particular case, we could add the brown bling just as good as the blue. So let's do that. Let's just, because I haven't used any of my brown bling. So let's use some of the brown bling. So I'm just going to take this, maybe. Let's use my finger now. Alright. Let's try to make it easier on me. I was just making it more difficult. So here we're going to just add some bling. It's just be nice and colorful. Alright, so there is our Happy Father's Day. Now for the inside, this is what it's going to do on the inside. So I'm going to have one Happy Father's Day that's going to be stamped in boho blue. And the other one that's going to be stamped, it's not Happy Father, we did Happy Father's Day. Here's the other one. It says, "So glad that you're my dad." So this could easily go on the outside as well as the inside, right? So I'm going to do one this color and one green for the other card. And yes, I'm going to clean that in case you're wondering. We're really going to clean it. Get the other one here. Swap them out. See, there's just going to be a nice touch to the inside. You can write, or so if it's not your dad and it's your son-in-law, friend, or whatever, then just change the sentiment on the inside, all right? We have many other sentiments. This one just happens to go with the stamp set that I was using today. But, you know, it's very easy to change these out. So the other thing I wanted to add to these were these little bobbins. So I'm still going to use I'm going to do just like I did with the very first card. And I'm going to stamp both of these. So you know what? This one here, I'm just going to do it to the side. And I'm going to do that to the other one too. Because on the first card I did it to the right side. So this one I'll do it to the left. And we're just going to do the same thing as we did originally. We're going to take the red. This was real red. Like I said, maybe you've had a bobbin or a float that was different color, but this is the ones I recall. So again, I'm just going to line this up. And then we'll stamp this one here. Yes, so I have sons, I have a husband. And there we go. And my father has moved on in life, so he is no longer here, but it's okay. You know what? I can still remember him and make sure my husband and children and grandchildren who are fathers and so forth, I'll get a card. So here are the two that I did that's going to look like, and it's going to be on the inside of my cards. All right. So let me move this out of the way so you see everything we created today. So this is the one we just created, which is stepped up, right? And let's see, I've got a lot of cards here. Here's the one that we stepped it up some, right? Because all we did is we took and we set it there and we embossed the whole cardstock in one sweep. And it was folded in half when we did it. And we just did the same thing here. We just added this and this here. We just stepped it up more here by adding more layers. We add the fish here that's been fussy cut, as well as we did the ribbon a little bit differently. And then here is the very first card that we did as well too. So glad you're my dad. And just as we said, as I started out with, here is one. We said good things come to those who wait, that we did as a happy retirement. And this is the original one that I had done also. Right here. So you can see we got two cards, same thing, but we just changed out the paper and fish and colors, right? You get a different look. Same thing here. This one looks similar, right? But again, we have more layers. We have a fish here. We changed this up a little bit here as well too. So this is just fun, easy ways that you can make Father's Day cards that are just simple and easy to do. So there's no reason why you cannot have some Father's Day cards by Father's Day. So I hope you enjoy this, right? Because it's all about creating, sharing, and giving, right? So there's no reason. Father's Day is 3 weekends from now, right? So go out there and create your Father's Day card, or for your son-in-law, friend, son, grandson. It doesn't matter. It's all about sharing, right? And giving. So with that, be blessed. Be sure to follow us not only here, but on YouTube. And we post the photos on Instagram. And today we plan on making sure to put out there on Instagram the items that we use for making this card. So if you want to know what we made, it'll be out there for you. So be blessed. Look forward to seeing you next week on Keep It Simple or Step It Up. Bye.